back to Nutrapreneur, the premier platform for exploring transformative ideas in the nutraceutical world. I'm your host, Bethany. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with Rob Rogers, the visionary founder of Real Ketones. From his early days as a minor league baseball player to creating a leading keto-friendly dietary product company, Rob's journey is a testament to perseverance and innovation. So join us today as we delve into how Real Ketones is revolutionizing health and nutrition. Welcome, Rob. It's so great to have you today.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
So first off, I think it would be great if you could share with us how your experiences as a serial entrepreneur and athlete influenced the founding of Real Ketones.
Yeah, you bet. So my background is I grew up in California and went to college at the University of San Diego, and then I got drafted out of there by the Cleveland Indians. And so I played professional baseball for approximately 4 years. And it really, being a pro athlete where you have to have a regimen, you have to get up early, you have to work, follow a workout schedule, etc. So there's a lot of parallels between being a pro athlete and then being a business owner. And so that I would say, being a pro athlete really prepared me from being to be a business owner. And so when I started, I would say the last 20 years, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've bought a lot of companies, and but I would going back to being an athlete, taught me about work ethic, gave me really good communication skills. When I was a player, you obviously have teammates, and there's going to be some you might not like. There's going to be
Yes.
some you really like, right? But does and when I say you don't like them, I actually can say in all the years that I played, I don't think there was a guy I played with I didn't like. Maybe we didn't have the same personalities, so they weren't guys I was gonna hang out with once I left the field. But even with all those different personalities, you got to figure out how to play together as a team. And it's very similar with a company. I've had companies where I've had as many as 400 or 500 employees, and they all have obviously different personalities. They all have to be motivated differently. You can't treat everybody the same. So, playing sports really taught me some incredible skills, to be a business owner. And I think, fortunately, a very successful business owner. So, I think it prepared me. And, running a business, it's hard. It is so hard. It's great. Don't get me wrong, to be your own person and not working for somebody. I love that. But the challenges of going to bed at night and worrying about payroll, and as a business owner, most of us always put our employees first. And if there's any struggles, we continue to pay the employees where, we don't pay ourselves. And people today see the Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, right, with Amazon, and they see the ridiculous amount of money these guys make. But in my humble opinion, it's justified because they took a lot of risk, and a lot of people don't see that. They don't see that the challenges you have as a business owner day to day, especially when you own multiple companies. So in my case, I own 8 different companies. So every day there's one company that's doing good, there's one company that's doing bad. So it's like every day it truly is like a roller coaster. You've got 8 or 9 great things happening, and then you got 8 or 9 challenges. So it's never boring.
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes for all of these startup businesses. And are there any pivotal moments or challenges that led you and your partner to start Real Ketones in 2014?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had just um, my partner and I had just sold a company in that we were in previously, that once again had a lot of employees. So at that stage, I was just about 50 and was thinking about retiring, you know, which with my personality, there's no way I'm ever going to retire. So I knew that quickly was going to be no. And then it was like, okay, we just got out of a company with a lot of employees. I don't want to go back into that. So what I originally was going to do was just I was going to start a consulting company, and I have spent a lot of time in Asia, so I had a lot of relationships there, and there was a lot of brands in Asia that wanted to come to the United States, so I was going to help them do that. And then additionally, a lot of brands in the United States were looking to be introduced to factories, et cetera, in China, and I was going to do that. And then as I was embarking on that, I was like, I don't really want to do this by myself. It will be kind of boring. So that's why I brought my partner with me. But quickly, everything changed. I got introduced to a scientist in Florida. This was almost exactly 11 years ago. And this scientist proceeded to tell me what a ketone was. And as a former pro athlete that's tried every supplement, I was that unfortunately the majority of them didn't work. So I was really skeptical. And so when I met with him, he said, I don't even know what a ketone is. And he said, "What?" He goes, "Rob, don't worry about it." He said, "When you were being born in your mom's belly, probably the most important time in your life, when all your major organs were being developed, your heart, your brain, et cetera, those are ketones." And he goes, "Most people don't know that." And I go, "Okay, I didn't know that." He said, "Were you breastfed?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Those are ketones." And he said, "The body's preferred fuel isn't glucose, isn't sugar, it's literally ketones. And we all make ketones every day. Everybody does. But what happens is the brain and the heart prefer the ketones. So the little bit we make gets sucked up by the brain and the heart. And he said, so what elite athletes have found out is when they do this thing called a ketogenic diet, which is incredibly tough to follow, their body makes a lot of ketones and you feel like you've never felt before." So I listened to him and I said, "I'm a black and white guy." And I said, "Dominic, I just don't believe you. Why haven't I ever heard about this?" But fortunately, I took my partner with me, who's a lot smarter than me. And as we got on the plane to come back home, I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "Man, I think there's something here. You should get it." So we licensed that patent from the University of South Florida. And I still didn't know what I was going to do with it because we had the consulting business. And then literally I had 5 other companies at that time. So this kind of went on the back burner. 3 years later, I put $3 million into it and we still had nothing. And right about then is when this ketogenic diet started to get very popular. And then everything kind of started clicking at that point. And so all the money we had, which we put a lot into this, started to pay off. And, today we have 8 different companies tied to the key ingredient is called beta hydroxybutyrate. We just call that a ketone. But we have 8 different companies tied to that technology. We have over 80 granted patents. So we control the whole ketone space, and we have patents all over the world. And then today we're doing business in probably 12 different countries. So it's, everybody says it's an overnight success story. No, it's not. It's taken a lot of work. But it's a great story. We're just beginning. And what's really cool is the technology does have a dramatic impact on so many of the health issues we have today, which, obviously we have issues with obesity. Unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of kids that are obese, which is very sad. You have a lot of brain disorders, so think Alzheimer's, Parkinson, dementia, think diabetes. So if you combine all that, that's what we call metabolic health. And there's so many issues with metabolic health, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And ketones can have a dramatic impact there, and they are having a dramatic impact there.
Yes, I've seen, a growing interest, and I know a lot of people that have followed the ketogenic diet with great success. And they are feeling a lot of the benefits. And you mentioned that Real Ketones holds a prominent position in the market with several patents. So, can you explain more about how these innovations enhance the effectiveness of your products?
100%. So my parent company is a company called Access Global Sciences, and that company holds all the what is called intellectual property. We call it IP for short. And my partner and I spend millions of dollars to get those patents. They're very hard. And so a lot of time and effort goes into just a single patent, which could take um, maybe as little as a year to get, but typically they could take 2, 3, or 4 years to get. There's a whole process you have to go through to get those patents, what are called granted. And what that means is at this stage of, if anybody wants to put this ingredient beta hydroxybutyrate in their product, they have to get permission from me. So we have the parent company that owns the intellectual property. I have a company called Real Ketones, which is my brand, which is in every major retailer in the US where we sell products. All the products contain the BHB, and those could be powders, capsules, shots, gummies, drinks. And then I have a ingredient company called Ketone Labs, where we sell BHB to brands all over the world. And so what I do there is we either sell them the ingredient or I do a licensing deal where they pay us a royalty. And um, and both those companies are doing incredibly well. And what's exciting is people are starting to understand what the technology can do over and above the keto diet. So again, when you're in a keto diet, it's great, but it's just very hard to do because you got to take your carbs almost down to zero. And unfortunately, the average Western diet is about 50% carbs. So can you go down to, say 5%? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. As somebody that's tried to do it, yeah, it's really hard. So what if you didn't have to do that anymore? What if you could take a product that was 100% bioidentical to the ketone your body made, and you could just take it in either a drink or a powder, and that's what we've done. So you can literally put ketones in your body, and within 30 minutes you feel it. And it has, yes, if you need to lose weight, it has a dramatic impact on losing fat. The key is you don't want to lose muscle, you want to keep your muscle. Um, but just as importantly, has a dramatic impact on your brain. So from uh, filling with a lot of energy without taking caffeine or sugar, it really has a dramatic impact on your brain. And it also has a dramatic impact, which is important today, on stress and anxiety. Unfortunately, so many of us, have a lot of stress and anxiety. And, what we've done as a company, we have spent millions of dollars on studies. They're called double-blind placebo studies to prove that our technologies work. And a lot of people said, you don't need to do that. And I said, no, we are going to do that. If we're going to, build these products for people, we're gonna prove that they in fact do what I say they're going to do. So those studies are incredibly expensive, but we've spent millions of dollars, to prove that our products do exactly what we say they're going to do.
Yes, I think the research and clinical study aspect is so important in this industry, and it's often overlooked by a lot of brands because, as you said, it's very expensive. But to truly back the claims that you're making, I think it's important to consumers that you have those studies. And is there a particular study that you can share with us that really underscores the benefits of your products?
Yeah, great question. So right out of the gate, I think there's a couple, we've done a lot, but two that I'm very proud of is one study is we proved with that particular formula, when you take that formula, the people saw a 10% improvement in their brain speed or brain function. So think as a, executive like you are, where you're doing a lot of reading, you're talking to a lot of people every day, where your brain can function at a minimum 10% better. That's dramatic. And then we did another study. We didn't want to study people with severe depression because we knew the product would work for that. But what about the people like you and me on this call that just have daily stress, driving to work, kids, trying to juggle all the things we have day to day? So we tested that group and they saw a 39% reduction in their stress anxiety levels. Dramatic. That's never happened before. I'll tell you two recent studies we just did. One we did with the University of Texas at Arlington. We did a test on what would BHB do for the heart.
This episode is brought to you by NutraPayments.com. If your business needs credit card processing that fully integrates with most major Nutra software platforms, offers the lowest industry prices, and has built-in features like recurring billing, $0 trials, and chargeback prevention, then visit us at NutraPayments.com for a free online quote.
And that study just got released 2 weeks ago and had a dramatic impact on the heart. So as I said earlier in the conversation, where BHB is the preferred fuel of the heart, we actually proved that. And so what does that mean? We believe this could have a dramatic impact on BHB on preventing heart disease, which is obviously one of the number one killers in the world, people having heart attacks or strokes. And then we're just releasing actually a study today. So it's kind of ironic you brought that up. We did a study on ATP, which is what drives the energy of the body. And this study proved what BHB could do dramatically to improve the ATP in your body, which is amazing. So that study actually will be released tonight. So that's kind of
Very
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, and we have a lot of other studies in the works that are exciting. And let me tell you one interesting thing that just happened about 6 months ago. And your audience, which is even I have to say sometimes, it almost sounds too good to be true what BHB does. And it does. But I always tell people, forget what I say and either just try the product yourself and see what happens. But today you also can go to a site like PubMed and type in ketones or BHB and see literally the thousands of studies now that have been done on BHB. But about 6 months ago, we got called by Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, very prominent hospital. And they said, Rob, we understand you own all the IP for BHB. And I said, yes. And they said, you probably don't know this, but you're saving babies' lives. And I said, okay, can you elaborate? And they said, there's a very rare disease called MAD, M-A-D-D. And what happens is these, unfortunately, with these babies is they can't metabolize fat or protein and they die. And she said, one of the doctors, we are putting the babies on your technology and the babies are living.
Wow.
And so that was extraordinary. So we put a program together very quickly for Mount Sinai to get them product. We set up a foundation. We sent them the product for free. And our worry was that word would get out, which it did, and that more hospitals would need the product. My worry wasn't for that, but this is a special formula we had to make. So I just wanted to make sure we had enough of it, to get to these children. And so now we have hospitals in Michigan that just called us and they have children. And unfortunately, even though this is a rare disease, only about 5,000 people get it a year. Unfortunately, it's going up. And so it's an incredible story. It's really cool. In as a serial entrepreneur, I've done very well, but it wasn't like I was doing anything to save the world. I was making money. I was taking care of my employees, but it wasn't like I was doing anything, good for the world. So to be able to have a product in this case that is definitely having an impact, and in the case of MAD disease, saving babies' lives, is truly amazing.
Yes, I agree. I think it's always far more rewarding when your mission and your products are actually making a significant impact on the world. And it sounds like your products are doing just that based on these results and what you're able to do with these children that are in these hospitals. So it's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think, I don't think I know it's just starting. And so I met with a very prominent doctor from Beverly Hills, California, that was paramount in getting a cure for HIV. And he called me, this was years ago, and said, Rob, can I come meet with you? And I didn't know who he was, so he told me his name. I looked him up and I go, my gosh, this is literally one of the top medical doctors in the world. And I said, sure, bring your team in. My headquarters is out of Salt Lake City, Utah. So he brought his team in and he proceeded to tell me, and I'm getting goosebumps, what he'd been doing in his practice the last 10 years with BHB. And it was, it was across the board, people for weight loss, people with a brain disorder, people with concussions, athletes trying to have an impact on their brain. It was literally story after story after story. And when he got done, I said, I told him, I go, the mistake I made is I didn't videotape this. And I said, it almost sounds too good to be true after you just told me hundreds of stories. And he goes, Rob, that's your problem. You don't believe in your own technology. And I said, no, I do. But I go, when it comes from somebody as prestigious and credible like you, it just validates what my technology can do. And he said, Rob, let me tell you, what you've done is incredible. You've created a huge company. You've done very well. But he goes, it's just starting. He goes, the medical community, which I'm in, Rob, he goes, we thoroughly know what beta hydroxybutyrate or ketones can do, and it's going to have a dramatic impact on the metabolic health. So the diabetes, the obesity we talked about earlier. And he says, what you've done is just starting. And he goes, word is getting out. And he goes, what it's going to do in the next years. He goes, you're about, on a scale of 10, you're maybe at 2, and this is going to shoot straight up. And we're starting to see that, by the way. So very exciting.
Yes, no, that's so exciting. And how does Real Ketones integrate technology like your supportive app to enhance user experience and adherence to a ketogenic lifestyle?
Yeah. So when we first started, we're really big about technology. And it's all about the experience. What can we do to help somebody? Because we all have a limited time today. Again, we have jobs, we have kids, we have, so unfortunately, social media. We just got so much going on. So it's what can we do to make the experience with the customer, which is what this company is all about. At the end of the day, it's the customer. It doesn't matter what we do if we're not taking care of the customer, and more importantly, the customer is, we're so privileged that they're buying our product, and then it has to work. And if it doesn't work, we're a company that I don't care if you bought it 5 months ago, send it back. Because you want to believe that the product will work for everybody, but there's going to be certain cases where probably it's not. And I don't believe in that. So if the customer doesn't have an incredible experience with any of my products, we take the product back, and I don't care when it was bought. So back to technology is what can we do from a technology standpoint to help people when they take the product? So we created this really cool technology where they can go to the app, and there's coaching, there's menus, there's workout programs, there's everything. It's an abundance of things that makes their experience, depending on what they're taking the product for, better. And then today, with everything that's happening with AI, Chat GPT, Bard, all that, we jumped right into that from day one, and we embraced it. We didn't, with anything with technology, we embrace. We don't look like at it as, oh my God, here's something else. No, let's embrace it. And AI already has had a dramatic impact for us, from looking at formulas to new things to do with BHB, to patents. So we've really embraced it. And at the beginning with AI, it wasn't, it wasn't accurate. It was all over the place. But today, we have a team that is strictly using AI, and the results we're getting from it are dramatic. So I think we were, by embracing it so soon, learning about it, working with it literally every day. Already for us, it's been a tremendous experience.
Yes, AI is everywhere now, and I think that you had the right mindset and just embracing it. I think a lot of people are fearful of it or don't understand it, but I think embracing all that it has to offer can be really beneficial to businesses.
Yeah, 100%. There's so much out there. I met a group last week in Dallas, and they've created an AI technology that's pretty cool, but it helps small businesses to understand, one, how to use AI. Don't be afraid of it. It takes you through a simple process. And so I think they have something that's good there. But, my recommendation, with, you know, people that are just thinking of starting a business, or, just have started a business, is you have to embrace it, because, up front, you're going to have to put some time in to learn it. But I'm telling you, on the back end, how much time it ends up saving you is tremendous. So if you're not being part of it, this AI revolution, you're going to get left behind.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that Real Ketones, is very mission driven, very results driven. And right now, you are aiming to end the grip that sugar has on all of our lives. So, what are the next steps for Real Ketones in promoting this movement?
Yeah, it's a great question too. When I started the company, again, we just got into it. Um, I guess I'll use the word luckily, but right from day one, the premise was, my mission was, we got to take on sugar. And when you start a company, and there's a guy I follow, Patrick Bet David, and he says, know your enemies wisely. And he wrote a book about that, and he is correct. And so our enemy number one was sugar. And we have to get people to understand, one, how bad sugar is. We have to embrace it. And then we have to provide products that don't have sugar in them. And sugar is an energy. So if you're going to remove the sugar from a product that is providing energy, what are you going to replace it with? Well, beta hydroxybutyrate, or a ketone, literally has 225%. Let me say that again, 225% more energy than sugar, right? So we got to get people to understand that. So if you can take this bad thing out and then put an incredibly 100% natural good thing in, and it's also providing 225% more energy, that's a good thing. So we have embraced this revolution, and we did that from day one with our products. And people now are, just because of all the money we're spending in advertising, when you're creating a brand, to get people to understand it, you got to spend a lot of money on advertising. Or today you get involved with influencers or celebrities. And so, and that's a mission we're using today. So as big as we've got now, we're getting approached by celebrities. I can't mention their names, but you know them all. And so we just have to be strategic, and which ones do we pick? Which ones do we use? And with that, you have to be very careful, because you don't want to get tied to a celebrity that all of a sudden the next day does something bad, which we see every day. So, but if you pick the right celebrity that believes in your product, believes in your mission, which again, our mission is, to get away from sugar, then you can have a lot of success there. And so we're taking on that challenge. We're still, even as big as we are, we're still a little guy today compared to, the big brands that are 4, 5, 10, 20 billion dollars. But that doesn't scare me. They were little at one time, and they got big, and we think we can get that big too. And we think we have a great mission. Now we just have to get people behind us, more and more people, and we are. And it's good, people, you're a lot younger than me, and you guys are just so smart, and a lot smarter than my age group, which is, I'm just under being a baby boomer. And, we did we did a lot of things wrong and we put a lot of things in our body that we didn't know were bad. And you guys today are so smart and you're challenging the system, which I love. You're saying, hey, we're not going to eat this anymore. And you're very educated on what's called a nutritional label or a supplement label. You know, you guys are reading it, you're seeing what's in it. And for us, it's not just sugar, we're also challenging caffeine. So all of our new products don't have caffeine in it, and then artificial ingredients. And we're not, so we've gotten rid of all those. And what's cool is seeing people like your generation that are embracing that and saying, we're going to be very careful what we put in our bodies. And so that's the route, Real Ketones is going.
Yes, absolutely. I think more and more people are looking for those clean label products. They want the clean ingredients. They don't want to see the artificial ingredients anymore, and they want to understand what they're putting into their bodies. And I know you said you still feel small in comparison to some of the other companies, but I think you've still experienced significant growth since 2014. And looking forward, what new projects or expansions can we expect from Real Ketones that will continue to impact the ketogenic and wider health markets?
Yeah, it's like almost every day something new's happening with us. So yeah, we're very excited. We're the Real Ketones brand is more or less focused around weight loss, and we have a core customer base that grows daily. But that's really what that brand's focused on, and I don't want to get away from that. I want that brand focused on that. So we're releasing two new brands that we're really excited about. One's going to be called BHB Science, that's really focused on the brain and anxiety, stress, that we talked about earlier. And then we have a new brand called Elevate that's going to be focused on performance. And what's really cool with that is, for when I was younger, it was always, we were taught that glucose was the body's preferred fuel. And then I was taught that uh, glucose and ketones couldn't be in your body at the same time. And it turns out that's all wrong. And then you have a group of people that are big into glucose, especially as an athlete. We're taught glucose is what you really need to perform at your best. And then there's a group that said, no, it's ketones. Well, you know what it is? It's both. You can literally today, in what's called a fed state, have glucose and ketones in your body at the exact same time. For years, we were told that couldn't happen, and that's actually true. And that's what's called dual fuel. So you literally can have this incredible energy, glucose, at the exact same time you can have this incredible energy called ketones in your body, each one doing what they do, and you can perform better. It's exciting. So that's what the brand Elevate's going to focus on. So we have that. As I mentioned earlier, we're almost weekly starting or concluding a new study. We've had tremendous success in the United States. We're getting ready to embark on Europe, which we think will even be bigger than what we've done in the United States. In Europe, they are incredibly knowledgeable about ketones and BHB, so that's exciting. And then later this year, we're going to begin the process of also going in Asia, China, Taiwan. And those obviously are going to be very big markets for us too. So very exciting, a lot of stuff on the plate.
Yes, that's fantastic. A lot of exciting things in the pipeline for you. Well, thank you once again, Rob, for sharing your incredible journey and the impactful work of Real Ketones. To our listeners, if you're looking to transform your health and explore the benefits of ketosis, check out Real Ketones' array of products. We've included links to their website and app in our show notes. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time on Nutrapreneur for more insights into the evolving world of nutraceuticals. Stay inspired and keep pushing the boundaries of health and nutrition.